Welcome everyone to In Conversation with one of my favourite Melburnians, Kelly Gall.
Thanks, Steph.
Kel, we're in that time of year again where we're buying Christmas and Secret Santa gifts. Everybody's out there doing so-called retail therapy. The option to buy now, pay later is everywhere. And obviously we all think of the likes of Afterpay when we think of a brand that resonates with that. But it doesn't seem to be an option that's exclusive to millennials anymore. It's not also exclusive just to retail. In fact, we've been seeing dentists, vets, doctors opting for buy now, pay later for many years when purchasing equipment for their practices, and we've been helping lots and lots of suppliers in the market do that for a long time. Today, Kelly and I are going to chat a little bit about the benefits of choosing buy now, pay later as a finance option. So, hey, Kelly.
Hey.
Great to see you.
You too.
As I said, we've been doing this for a long time. What do you see as the benefits of this type of option?
Thanks, Steph. I think the key piece, and probably 2020 has shown us more than ever that cash flow preservation is imperative and it's super important to have. And right now, cash is king, as I prefer to say, is queen, and everybody wants to hold on to it because we just don't know what's around the corner. And I think if we actually cast our minds back 12 months ago, if you told us about COVID and how 2020 was going to play out, I think most of us would agree it's pretty hard to fathom. For our doctors, we know that having access to quick cash has helped them through, and particularly our dentists who had greater restrictions than maybe some of the other professions that we work with. Retaining funds in a bank account and then paying out a smaller amount each month also means that our doctors are able to acquire various assets over a period of time rather than restricting themselves to one that might improve the way they practice or operate in their business, which ultimately delivers superior services to the communities that they work with. The second reason obviously would be tax deductions. Number one that we all know about is loan interest and depreciation. It obviously reduces the tax that our clients pay each year by having these facilities in place. And this year's obviously been taken to a whole new level and extended beyond. Even now it's extended again, as we've seen in recent weeks. We've had many clients take advantage of the government stimulus around the instant asset write-off. Which I suppose is an important thing to think about. Everyone talks about write-offs, but what does it mean in reality? And rightly or wrongly, I always think of that episode of Schitt's Creek with David and his write-offs and all the big spending that he did. So I thought it was actually quite an interesting point to probably elaborate. So if we have a practitioner with a taxable income of $150,000 a year, obviously depending tax brackets, and this is obviously very general advice, but as a round figure, they're expected to pay around $40,000 a year that year in tax. Let's say they buy some equipment worth $40,000. This means that their taxable income will now be $110,000. So the $150 less the $40,000 spend is the instant write-off. This now drops their tax bill to $26,000. So ultimately, they've ended up with a new asset in their business to help improve efficiencies and processes in their practice, but also an extra $14,000 in their own pocket. So we've seen, obviously, supported many clients to be able to do this with funding in their own name or in a company and a trust. So I suppose, Steph, everybody's trying to make the most of it. And obviously it's super important for us when we're working with our clients to make sure they've got the debt in the right place and on the right side of the ledger.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think it's a bit of a national pastime, hey, chasing tax deductions in Australia.
Totally.
So like a bit of a variant on the same theme, for those that are thinking seriously about purchasing a piece of expensive equipment, can you just run through how a make no repayments for 12 months offer might work?
Yeah, I sure can. So obviously a traditional buy now, pay later type arrangement, I think we all revert to the old kind of ways of doing things where you could buy now on credit and secretly behind the scenes the money that you've borrowed is accruing a crazy rate of interest and compounding at the back end. We obviously have quite a few arrangements with different vendors across the medical, dental and veterinary space that we play in, and we've been super busy talking to clients looking to acquire assets from these vendors because it enables them to take the asset today, pay for it, but there's 12 months of zero repayments. And obviously rolling into the final BAS quarter of the year, there's also GST benefits. The buy now, pay later piece enables our doctors to integrate the equipment into their daily practice before they actually have to start making repayments. The key to this too is that after the 12 months of nothing to pay, so it's 12 months of zero, they can then choose a loan term from 2 to 7 years. So they know that when those payments, when the buy now, pay later period is finished, that their repayments start automatically on their chosen loan term. So it's not a one size fits all. The key to this is there's no additional interest costs either to take up the delayed start. So the repayments are exactly the same today, even if they started in month 13. So many will take the headroom that this delay provides. As I mentioned earlier, it's obviously part of that cash flow preservation too. The other thing too is we can also support our clients with some Qantas Business Rewards points on their loans, and depending on the loan term, they obviously have the ability to double them up, triple them up, do one for one, and when you take into account effective loan rates as well, it's cost-wise, it's right up there with the home loan. The only difference, I suppose, is that you pay your home loan after tax. So in reality, a home loan could even be more expensive. Another little key feature to think about is that nearly all of our doctors fully finance the cost of their equipment, including the GST. Now, obviously, most GST claims are generally done quarterly, and as we roll into December now, this means that they'd be likely to claim their GST back next month in January/February. So if you actually think about the 12 months of nothing to pay, that GST that comes back into the bank account too, basically sits there waiting for when the payments start. So in essence, our clients generally are giving themselves kind of 16 to 17 months before they actually physically have to start paying out of their own pocket. The other key feature, Steph, which I'm always mindful of, is that if a purchase is new, it's a service being integrated into the practice, that our doctors actually have the year to be trained, their teams and their staff are trained, and they're actually incorporating the equipment confidently to patients before they actually have to start paying. So, if it is a new technology that you're looking to get a grasp on, you don't feel the pressure or the burden to roll it out next week. You can actually take your time and do some test cases or practice on friends or family or staff before you actually deliver to a patient. So it's a good way, it's a nice way to enter into without feeling a great deal of pressure.
Yeah. Remember the old days when it used to be lay-by in Kmart, and you'd say the thing you wanted and then you'd have to leave it in the store while you saved up, and now we flipped it around, right? That you can have it today and pay for it kind of afterwards. So
yeah.
You mentioned at the end there, obviously, about rolling it out into the practice. I mean, can you give us a few examples of how equipment bought using buy now, pay later has worked for our clients at Credible?
Yeah, sure can. It's quite interesting because it doesn't matter what your profession is, or I suppose how you practice on a day-to-day basis. It's been able to transition across many different modalities. So I suppose, first of all, in the medical space, we've got lots of clients acquiring lasers to, I suppose, upgrade the services that they're able to offer from their practice. For many, it might be perhaps like a GP that has a particular interest in skin or cosmetics, and so being able to incorporate this equipment into their practice to be able to put together, I suppose, a proposal to patients of how to, reap the benefits of the equipment. It's actually changing the way that they operate. And I know for sure that, not having to put your hand in your pocket to pay for equipment that's not yet turning an income for you certainly takes some pressure off. And it kind of really creates a bit of an overhaul of how their day-to-day operation runs in their practice and who's responsible for it, who's using it. Maybe there's things like, licensing, particularly in the dental space with imaging equipment and medical to that point. Across our dental space, we have obviously been able to support clients who are maybe putting in a second dental treatment unit. They might have been a solo practitioner now looking to expand. They don't quite have the patience to fill that chair up for a whole book for an associate for a whole week, but by being able to put the equipment in, they can start taking on new patients and opening up the book, bringing in an associate that might only start 2 or 3 days a week in the beginning. I know I actually have quite a lot of practitioners that like to have 2 chairs so they don't have any downtime in between sterilising and cleaning, ready for the next patient, so they can kind of bounce between the 2 and it makes them more efficient. They might do maybe longer days on 3 or 4 days of the week, and then they get themselves a 3-day weekend by being able to shuffle things around. So also being able to, I suppose, have that flexibility and not have the pressure of a monthly commitment on day 1 is another important piece. I suppose on the veterinary side of things too, we obviously are able to help our clients with ultrasounds and x-rays. A lot of our equine guys, they do a lot of work that can be particularly seasonal based, and if you're thinking about like yearling sales and scanning, so they can actually take the equipment, take the pressure off themselves, because their income might go in peaks and troughs across the season, but they can actually put the income to the side and have it sitting there waiting for when their repayments kick on too. So it kind of works for everybody, for most people in reality, depending on their own situation. And that's part of, I suppose, what we do in talking to people about what they think they need and where I suppose the sweet spot of incorporating the equipment and getting the best solution with the buy now, pay later really works for them.
Yeah. I think, like we know from running our business, any change in business takes a little bit of time to bed in, for everybody to get used to it, and just not to have the burden of having to pay for it from day one, I think is really helpful. Kel, look, obviously this was just a quick soundbite for everybody on some of the benefits of buy now, pay later. I hope everybody's learned something, and thanks again for your time.
Cool. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining me too.
We'll always have you around, Kel, for a chat. We hope you enjoyed the conversation, everybody, and obviously we're looking forward to the next one. And in the meantime, take care.
So if you're a client and you'd like to know more about who our partners are that we have buy now, pay later programs with, please head to the website and reach out to a member of the team. All of our contact details are there. Otherwise, jump online at hello@credible.com.au, shoot us an email. Otherwise, there's also a live chat feature on our website, and lucky you'll get to have a chat to one of us directly. We actually manage that ourselves. Thanks, guys.
And if you're a supplier who'd like to integrate buy now, pay later into your business, feel free to reach out to one of the friendly team. Again, you can find all their mobile numbers for all of our consultants on the website www.credible.com.au.